A tyrant invokes the Fifth Amendment on Capitol Hill. Is anybody really surprised that Fauci is a coward? Let's talk about it. Here we go.
Let's go.
I think we were all hoping there might be a Colonel Jessup moment where he just loses it on one of the Republican senators and starts saying, I am the science. You're damn right I am. But no. He was advised by counsel to invoke his Fifth Amendment rights, which, as Senator Josh Hawley points out, he doesn't have because he accepted a presidential pardon. And Josh Hawley cited Supreme Court precedent for that. So I'll get into all that with you. And, you know, since the diary has come out, and I got to give my buddy Bill Rubino a shout out. He put out his newsletter yesterday that he puts out to his group of guys. And he said, what kind of a grown man has a freaking diary? And it's a great point. I didn't really stop to think about that. I know people journal, but what kind of a grown man has a diary? And I kept thinking about my daughters have diaries, the princess diaries. And when you look at the level of nauseating, just like, you know, celebrity worship, worshiping himself and celebrities who worshiped him. And we're going to take you down memory road today from some of the most cringe-worthy moments of Anthony Fauci and society and culture. Because we've spent a couple days reminding ourselves of how awful everything was under him. How you didn't have any constitutional rights under Anthony Fauci. He does. You didn't. He apparently does. You don't. Okay? He's worthy. You're not. I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, if you said my constitutional right, I could go outside. I shouldn't have to get a vaccine. Like, my favorite was when the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, wrote an op-ed saying that the constitutional thing was absolutely for the government to mandate a vaccine for COVID. For the good of society, the American Civil Liberties Union. I said, I knew for years they had lost their way. And I had turned to other libertarian-minded groups for my legal things. It became just basically like a giant trans organization, but a Pacific Legal Foundation, some others. And when they wrote that, I thought we have fully reached the point where they are an absolute joke to suggest that the government can mandate you take an experimental, not even approved vaccine for the good of society against your will. And how does that even work exactly? The police hold you down. They strap you down. When the left decides they want law enforcement involved and when they don't is remarkable to me, because all these people that are out there today running for office and talking about defund the police, or in the case of El Said in Michigan, reallocate money from the police towards libraries and mental health workers, which is essentially the same thing, but it's just they use words to try to get around this. Those same people were cheering on the cops who busted up private parties, people going to church. If you had more than 10 people at your home and the law enforcement knocked on your door, knocked down your door, arrested you, arrested kids, arrested a mom for not having her kid's mask on, dudes surfing. I mean, there's countless stories. We go on all day talking about it. They cheered those people on. They did. But I mean, I didn't expect Fauci was going to answer anything because he's got a pardon. So the only way he can incriminate himself is if he says something that is a lie. And why would you do that if you can hide behind a pardon? Well, you do that because you want to set the record straight, but he can do that on CNN or MS Now. You know what I mean? Or NBC, Meet the Press or whatever. So he can do all that there. And to Josh Hawley's point, which is what Josh Hawley said today, and he's right, maybe they can charge him with contempt. That's not exactly the justice everybody was hoping for. Contempt of Congress, I think that's about the best we're going to get because he should be, he's required to answer. He should be required to answer. They can't really force him. What are they going to do? Shock the guy, like waterboard him? I mean, as fun as that would be, I don't think they can do that. So contempt of Congress, like a contempt of court. You know, if a judge tells you have to answer the question, you don't answer the question, the judge can say you're in contempt. And they can arrest you and right on site and put you in jail, you know? So, I mean, they could do that, but then it still gets referred to the DOJ for potential prosecution. And, you know, he gets to then invoke his lawyers and then he gets to use all of the means of the court and the Constitution, all the things that he said you were not entitled to back then because we were in a public health emergency. So, here's Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyer is sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally, cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Hawley's correct. You accepted the pardon. Therefore, you have no rights. But contempt of Congress, contempt of the Senate, whatever the official charge would be, that's the best you're going to get out of this guy. And then there's a lot of grandstanding that goes on all day, and I didn't feel like pulling clips. I mean, the only Democrat who sounded reasonable was, surprise, surprise, John Fetterman, and every Republican just beat the crap out of him. Most Democrats defended him as a national treasure and a national hero. And what else do you expect? What else do you expect? Do you really expect Democrats to come around and say, you thought the mortality rate was 0.2%, but you told everybody it was 2%, and you said maybe 1%? Those are very different numbers. Like you funded gain of function research and you lied about it. You lied about it to this body. That's wrong. But they're not going to do that. So if you remember, there were some real amazing moments back during Fauci's tenure. And there were people that were just in love with this guy. And it was really grotesque. It was him and Cuomo. Because remember, they called him the Love Gov. But by July of 2021, as Western Lensman points out, Fauci's unquenchable media obsession had progressed to the point where he was appearing with pop stars and reading his own fan tweets. July of 2021. Politico put this out. Take a look.
Here's one that says, I got my first dose of the Fauci ouchie. I had a dream that I got the COVID-19 vaccine and met Dr. Fauci afterwards. I told him that I'd bought his bobblehead, and he was super cool about it.
I saw your bobblehead today.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great.
PPL made fun of these Dr. Fauci prayer candles, but we got my dad one for his birthday in November. So he lit it every night, and everyone in my immediate family was fully vaccinated, so maybe there's something there.
And you had like a Fauci candle and the Fauci bobblehead right next to each other.
Jared, who is that woman? Do you know?
Monday to this hero. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, for all your hard work. We
she's
intelligence,
very
honest,
distracting.
compassion.
That's all I'll say.
We love you. Well,
You're watching on YouTube.
Say that.
Aw, until she starts to talk. And then you just want to turn it off. Cringe, no doubt about it. Cringe worthy. And there's a lot of that too. Julia Roberts fawning over Fauci. How many pages in his diary, the Tyrant Diary, the Princess Diaries, the Tyrant Diaries, how many pages in the Tyrant Diaries do you think Fauci wrote about this moment with Julia Roberts in October of 2020, cut 9?
Rad that we have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is such a thrill. How are you?
Pretty good, I guess. It's a little bit like running on fumes for a couple of months, but
I would imagine this is a thrill for me because you truly have emerged as a personal hero for me, and you've been this true north, I think, for a lot of people, and it's deeply, deeply appreciated. So just to have this little corner of your time for us is such a joy. So thank you.
It's my pleasure to be with you Ms. Roberts, and thank you for doing this. It's very important.
Golly, you're really like my personal hero right now.
Golly.
What
And
is
don't
this?
you love how she was surprised when he showed up, but he said, thanks for doing this. So obviously it was all planned out.
This is intense. Does anybody else have?
Let me act surprised. I am an actress. I can do this. Oh my, I had no idea you were going to be here, Dr. Fauci. You think somebody would have told me, Julia Roberts, Hollywood royalty, that you were going to be here? Amazing.
I had an anonymous Zoom on my calendar, and I was just sitting here waiting for God knows what. What is this even for? She doesn't have a podcast. She doesn't have what is this even for? Like, what is? It is like at least like the tweet thing is obvious. You know that they set up that he's going to read tweets and they're going to use this to put out good. What is Julia Roberts doing? She's sitting on Zoom with Anthony Fauci in 2020 for what? Why?
Some NIH propaganda video, I guess, or National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Disease propaganda video. Like, look at me and Julia Roberts. I'm so cool. But the minute that she goes, I didn't know who I was going to be talking to. I said yes to anyone working there. Literally anyone. It could have been an intern. Fine. I had no idea they were going to give me you, Anthony Fauci. It's not like they would tell one of the richest, most powerful women in Hollywood, possibly America, that I was going to be talking to you. They're definitely going to keep that a secret from me. I was expecting to speak to Stan in supply, just about how they were doing with their personal, not even PPEs, paper, pens. Things are tough to get. So
but Stan was doing a lot of media then, so she was probably, you take what you get to do your Zoom call, celebrity Zoom calls.
Stan's busy, so you got me, okay? All right, you got me. You stuck with me. Oh, I had no idea. Then there's the Fauci claims that the majority of scientists believe the virus occurred naturally instead of leaking from a lab. And Fauci joked that he's the reason why they weren't allowed to say that publicly, even though he was saying that in emails. And he and all his little merry band of gain-of-functionettes, they all knew it came from a lab. Cut 11.
If you look at what scientists from all over the world, and the conspiracy is that I sort of have these scientists on a string and I'm telling them what to do. Did you ever try and figure out what a German or a Swedish scientist would tell me if I told them what to do? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's for public consumption what they would tell me to go. They don't listen. They are of their own independent mind. And the vast majority of those people feel that you want to keep an open mind, that it should have been anything that happened. But the evidence that they have been working on for years strongly favors a natural occurrence. Does that mean it couldn't be a lab leak? Absolutely. I have a totally open mind to that. But an open mind doesn't mean there's equal probabilities of something happening, because you've got to look at what is the evidence and what are the data for one thing versus another. These scientists who wrote those papers in Science and Cell, they have pretty definitive data that these animals, which were outlawed and not allowed to be in a market where people can be in contact with them, were actually brought there because they bring in a lot of money, people buy them for ceremonial dinners, and yet they deny that. That's the thing that you really want them to come clean on.
The data was the data you were giving them. And the data you were giving them was the data that backed up your point that it came from a wet market. You never were able to give them evidence about the Wuhan lab because you never went there. You never inspected it. You never saw it. Nobody ever did. And the CDC did the work of covering up for China. And so the only data, the only evidence these people were given was the evidence you wanted them to see to back up your claims, bottom line. And you know how I've been kind of weaving the flock cameras into the future surveillance state and how they'll be able to target people and spy on everybody and destroy their liberty. Cut 13 is really amazing. One of the flashback moments when they were going door to door on camera, going door to door and just harassing people about getting the vaccine. Cut 13.
What are we going to do about those other states?
Oh, my God. They're going to keep the outbreak smoldering in the country. It's so crazy. I mean, they're not doing it because they say they don't want to do it. They're Republicans. They don't like to be told what to do.
Right.
And we got to break that, unpack that.
How you guys doing with vaccine?
Those Republicans.
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting for them to be able to.
Oh, you should get it first. Okay, that way you won't give it to them.
Oh, I thought I would give it to them if I get it.
No, not at all. In fact, we got to get you vaccinated so that if you were to get infected, you could pass it on to them. So you're actually protecting your family by getting him vaccinated.
Meaning that we're going to sell you the lie that if you got vaccinated, you can't spread it. And they knew that was a lie, but they said it over and over again, going door to door, shaking people down. You imagine what they would do with flock cameras and surveillance drones and everything else. You imagine everybody who's vaccinated would have to wear something to identify them in public. And then the surveillance drones can go around, find the people that aren't, and find out where they live. Just quick face scan, biometrics, know all about the profile and know that, John Smith is not vaccinated or something like that. It'll be probably far worse than I could ever imagine, actually. Because when there's a public health emergency, the Constitution goes out the window, apparently. Now, years later, if you have to talk about that public health emergency, the Constitution's back and you hide behind it. But at the time, you had no constitutional rights. They could tell you where to go, where not to go, what to do, and you could lose your job and you could lose your standing in society and all the other things if you didn't do exactly what they wanted you to do. But some people push back, like this man who called out Fauci right to his face on camera, cut 12.
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot on a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
it's
like
much
the common
more
flu.
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year?
All right, well, thank you very much.
This year.
It's a brave man right there, and he turned out to be right. And all the people who were talking to him who were vaccinated may have given him COVID. Because we know that the vaccine did not stop the spread of COVID. You could still give it. You could still get it. Fauci himself had COVID like 6 times or something. I don't know, with all his boosters and his everything else. But they lied about that. And then they came out later and they were like, oh, no, you can give it. You can get it, even if you're vaccinated. So then get boosters. You need to get boosters. The whole thing was such a scam. It really was. But there are people that say MAGA is a cult. And maybe some people are definitely cultish when it comes to Trump, no doubt about that. But what about the cult of Fauci that was going on during the 2020 COVID pandemic fiasco? I'm going to play this for you. Describe the scene for you. It's a bunch of people. It's a Vaccinate New York thing. Everybody wearing masks. And here we go.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
Something tells me he's still a virgin. And there were others, too, who were engaging in this Fauci worship nonsense and just gross because, if you continue to do this to government officials, public health officials, and you can't challenge them because, then you're anti-science and you worship these people, and these people are government employees. At the end of the day, Anthony Fauci is a bureaucrat, a highly paid bureaucrat, the highest paid bureaucrat, but still a bureaucrat. They worship him. And then we all have to remember the times in our lives when we had to put up with things like the song organized by Gal Gadot during COVID, as if it wasn't painful enough. I believe that the reason why everybody started day drinking was because of this.
Hey guys, day 6 in self-quarantine. And I gotta say that these past few days...
it's only 6 days in?
6 days in, yeah. She's in her mansion. She has everything she could possibly need, but it's like, how am I surviving in here with all this Chardonnay and lobster?
It's been 6 whole days.
6 days I haven't left my house. I've had a Grubhub it, and this is Brew My Chef. I had to sneak him in through the back.
This video of this Italian guy playing the trumpet in his balcony.
Yeah, you're just like that. Can all your neighbors hear you sing? No. No. Because you're not in an apartment building in Milan.
Powerful and pure about this video.
Yeah.
And it goes like this. Imagine there's no heaven.
First beer of the pandemic.
No
second beer.
Below us.
Above us only sky.
First bourbon of COVID-19.
The people.
It's you, James Marsh. Honey, the liquor store delivers. Place an order. They did. I remember that back then. They delivered.
To do.
Okay, I'm gonna. I guess this actually was my favorite part of the pandemic, and I almost think the whole thing was worth it just to have this. To just, firstly, like how tough it must have been for them to make it 6 whole days, but also like that they did it, and that I believe everybody. I don't even think that guy who, made his little Fauci song, like, I think everybody panned this thing, right? It was like unanimously like cringe. And I love that all of Hollywood got together to make this thing, and everybody was like, no, you suck. And like, that was such a great that was the unifying moment of COVID for me.
When everybody was like, this is dog blank.
100%.
Yeah. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live from home that they did, hosted by Tom Hanks?
I don't.
Featuring Brad Pitt playing Fauci. And at the end of it, he takes off the glasses, looks at the camera and goes, thank you, Dr. Fauci. You're an American hero, or something like that.
I remember.
Breaks the fourth wall to thank Fauci during the Saturday Night Live at home. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
It was a time. But I mean, listen, they'd made it 6 whole days. You can't
Jared,
blame
after 6 days of living in a mansion with the best food in the world and a wine cellar, how anyone survive under those conditions?
It's the exact same as the guy.
Because she's Wonder Woman.
First of all, she can do no wrong. It's the rest of the people in the video. They're the problem. But secondly, she's just like that trumpet guy who's playing in the beautiful streets of Milan, echoing through. It's just like that. It's the same.
Just like that. Playing to his neighbors because he lives in an apartment building complex in a city very close to people and has to do it on his balcony. It's just like that when you do it from your mansion in Beverly Hills.
Don't even see, this is the thing. You're being critical. She could almost hear her neighbors some nights, but the sound would carry, and she could hear them in their pool. And that ruined her whole pool experience. She had 5 days of that, Rich. 5 days of hearing her neighbors splashing in her pool. It's the same.
It would drive anyone to drink, truly.
It was tough.
But we're not done with this little trip down memory road. We've only just begun, but I do want to remind you, we're going to be together in person, not remote, August 7th at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. My happy place, and I want to see you there because the Grand Hotel is the best place, and we're going to be there. And it's also your time to make your September to remember vacation plans where you'll have great savings, resort credits available, and you'll be there the best time of year, September. Well, the best time of year is going to be August 7th because we're going to have a great time. 3 to 6 p.m. The show is free. You don't need a ticket. You don't need to reserve for the show. Just come. long as you like, as short as you like, whatever you want to do. But then come back in September for the September to Remember. Enjoy the beautiful weather. The crowds are gone, and you'll love it. Just go to grandhotelcapemay.com. grandhotelcapemay.com. Make your reservation for Hemingway's Restaurant. Best steaks, seafood. Their cheesesteak is amazing, by the way. And handcrafted cocktails at the bar. Same thing at the pool bar, the outdoor pool bar. It is truly my happy place. grandhotelcapemay.com. The time that I knew definitively that these people were so full of it was pretty early. It happened before this, but this was the time that they all took the mask off and exposed themselves to everybody. So if you remember when George Floyd was killed, that whole thing, or depending on the autopsy report, which is that the drugs did it. I mean, that's not going to do a show on George Floyd here, but at the time, everybody certainly believed that the video was that was it. And then you had marches, you had protests, you had cities burned. It was everything. It was only years later when they did the autopsy and the reports that they started to raise some questions around that. And Dr. Wilfred Riley, friend of the show, broke all that down for us. But again, that's for another show. The point is that incident where George Floyd died was a moment where people said enough is enough, and we are going to protest systemic racism. And suddenly, COVID didn't spread anymore. So now, even though you were not allowed to gather in large groups, if you were marching arm in arm in protest of George Floyd's killing, if you were marching arm in arm with hundreds of people around you, that was perfectly fine because you were doing it in the name of racial justice. And who joined in? His Royal Rugness, King Philip the Unaccountable, and his wife. And I remember how draconian New Jersey was back then. But as he said, who am I? Who am I to criticize? They're protesting 400 years of systemic racism. Who am I to keep them home? He kept everybody else home. So, but anyway,
Governor Murphy and First Lady Tammy Murphy were among the thousands of weekend protesters in New Jersey. This one Sunday in Hillside, they took a knee in Westfield, where a high school junior wrote and invited the governor to attend to make people feel heard about the treatment of black people.
We're still digging out from that awful state of racism.
Nutley's mayor got a quick reality check of the mood of demonstrators as he tried to dance around the M word, describing the video of Floyd's killing.
The video is upsetting, disappointing, and infuriating. Call it what it is. Call it a murder. Whatever. It does not show the police standards we know and expect in this
community. You take your mask off when you're speaking from a bullhorn, obviously.
Minutes later, Mayor Mauro Tucci acquiesced and said murder. Others demanded change, accountability.
Yeah, because that's what we do, mob justice.
Brutality. I'm not asking for change. I'm demanding change.
Mob justice, no investigations. We just let the crowd yell. And if the crowd yells loud enough, we back down and go, okay, fine. We've pronounced him guilty. Guilty. There's no justice like mob justice, to quote The Simpsons. And that is the big story of the hour, brought to you by our buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria, Veneria Dental. Go see him today for your perfect smile. Veneria Dental, he's the best. He's going to give you a beautiful smile, and you are going to be a very, very happy person. There is a media blackout on talking about Fauci. Maybe the media blackout will be lifted now because they'll be able to show clips of how mean Republicans were. Bernie Moreno dropping the F-bomb. Maybe, but certainly not last night on CNN when my buddy, Lydia Moynihan from the New York Post, was on the panel, a panel that they won't let me on for whatever reason. I don't know why. I really don't. Both Brianna Lyman and Lydia Moynihan have contacted CNN bookers and said, you should book Rich, because they book other Republicans. They won't do it. So fine, that's okay. There's another network that keeps asking me to come back, including tomorrow.
Ooh. Are you doing MS Now again?
Well, I will only do it when Rachel Maddow's there. But luckily they said, well, Chris Hayes, basically Rachel Maddow. I was like, okay, same thing.
Who can tell?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also I can't imagine why CNN doesn't want you when you continually fight with people unprovoked on Fox. Seems weird. Seems weird.
And I made it to Rolling Stone magazine, though. Rolling Stone wrote a piece about that.
About the brawl like a month later. They were like, this brawl, that this played out on Fox. And I was like, I mean, not yesterday. Like, very hip for the Rolling Stone to be covering stuff. So congrats, by the way. That's a big one.
Thanks. Well, I didn't make the cover of the Rolling Stone, but having them trash me is an honor. It's a true honor. Might be one of my biggest honors in life. Mom, I got trashed by Rolling Stone, Mama Zeoli. Be careful, baby.
I've been trashed by way bigger people than you. I've heard worse. Rolling Stone wrote about how terrible I am. You don't have to take it. You've got an arrow in your quiver now. You're ready for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
I feel like I've matured. So I'm going to unmature myself right here as we play Lydia Moynihan, trying desperately for oxygen to be able to speak. And I'm kind of glad I don't go on that show because you can't get a freaking word in.
I think we need to have transparency around what's going on. I think one situation that, frankly, where we saw the government was certainly obfuscating, didn't have any transparency, was Anthony Fauci, who we're getting his diaries today, where he was purposely obfuscating about
Anthony Fauci.
That's actually something where we know he was purposely obfuscating.
Lydia, we're sitting here talking about Americans who were killed in theater, okay, as a result of a war. We are not going to pivot to Anthony Fauci's diaries. That's a different conversation.
You're saying that this is a purposeful obfuscation. We don't know that it was a purposeful obfuscation.
That we learned this weekend,
it was.
Isaiah, the other thing we learned this weekend is that the president has been warned by his own.
Yeah, you can't get a word in there. So you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Who needs to deal with anything? You don't have to worry about it because they won't have me on anyway. But the media during COVID, if you're wondering about the coverage, our buddy Tom Elliott from Grabian has a breakdown on this. 3 years on camera, 1,741 media appearances by Anthony Fauci during COVID. And what's amazing about that is most of them are TV, and most of them are exactly the networks that you would imagine. The ones that all kissed up to him, and they were like, "You're my hero, Anthony Fauci." MSNBC at the time, CNN, and you name it. And Good Morning America, the Today Show, because he wrote about it in the Tyrant Diaries. And in the Tyrant Diaries, he was very, very clear about how other people were trying to take him out of the spotlight, but he was the most famous person in the world. He was on the cover of Rolling Stone and Vanity Fair and a million other left-wing rags that nobody friggin' reads anymore. But today his lawyer got thrown out of the hearing. Senator Rand Paul did not put up with it. His lawyer was obnoxious. His lawyer was breaking the rules. Here's how this works. If you invoke the Fifth, which, again, he really cannot do, in my opinion, because of the fact that he's accepted a pardon. But if you invoke the Fifth, you can't say anything. So like Josh Hawley was, he was when he was saying, like, what color is the rug? If you say blue, now you can't use your Fifth anymore. You literally can't say anything. Like I saw some dummy on X tweeted like, well, maybe he'll use the Fifth on some things, but not other things. No, it's not how it works. You don't get to do that. Either you're invoking your Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination or you're not. You don't get to go, I was down at 7-Eleven and I walked in, I needed a hot dog. Well, did you rob the place? I'm invoking my Fifth. No, it doesn't work that way. So Fauci's lawyer kept hemming and hawing, and he's not allowed to do that because if you invoke the Fifth, your client invokes the Fifth, then you do as well. You can't argue on behalf of your client when he's exercised his Fifth Amendment rights. That's not how that works. It's either you zip it and everybody on your team zips it and you sit there for as long as they're going to ask questions and you repeat the same thing over and over again until the day ends, or you fight, and either you fight through your lawyer or you fight yourself. But what the lawyer did today was absolutely just insulting. I have a feeling this guy probably advertises on billboards. Take a listen to this exchange.
It's against the law to obstruct an investigation of Congress. There will be repercussions to your refusal to testify today. Senator Peters. You're not recognized. You're not recognized.
That's the lawyer trying to talk.
If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security. We'll hold off. but you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
Those are
Mr.
two
Chairman,
words.
I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise, his lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered, for a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Slime ball.
Is that Laura Ingraham over the shoulder there? I think so.
Yeah, you got
okay.
the prime seat, so she's in every shot where Fauci speaks.
Oh, my God.
So it's good to be the queen.
Yeah, good for her.
And there's also a huge guy behind Fauci who I believe is his armed bodyguard. You see that guy? Big black guy sitting behind him? Like a house. Right behind. It's hard to see in this shot.
Over his left
right
shoulder.
Right behind
there.
him. And he's got a pin on that somebody who knows law enforcement. Actually, Michael Pelka texted me. He said, that's usually a sign that the guy's armed. So the Capitol Police will know that he's legally allowed to carry. So
I don't know. That guy looks like he didn't need a weapon. He looks pretty beefy.
No, he is a weapon. He is a human weapon. Probably a mutant of some sort. No one can look like that.
Good for him.
But you know, Jared, this is the reason why New Jersey has to pass rules like lawyers are not allowed to have sex with their clients. This is a real story. I'm not making this up. New Jersey bars lawyers from having sex with clients. New ethic rules take effect September 1st, with exception for pre-existing relationships. Now, don't worry, your lawyers will still be able to F you in every single way, just not the traditional way of coitus, the act of making love. No, they'll F you on the bill. They'll F you when you are going through a divorce. There's lots of ways they'll still do that, but just not the old-fashioned skin-on-skin contact way. You know what I mean? But if you were worried, this means I'm not going to get F'd by my lawyer. Oh, no, you will, most certainly.
You can't do anything anymore, Rich. You know, like we're taking all the fun out of being a citizen, right? Like, can't have sex with your clients. What you could put teachers on that list next? Like we're taking out all the fun avenues, all the fantasies, everything that shows up in my little algorithm. It's all gone, taking it all away.
So what about the psychiatrist's office where the woman comes in and she's laying on the couch, and then the other woman takes off her glasses and says, "I know what the problem is."
See,
dun, like you know,
right? Yeah, exactly. They're going to ban stepmoms. That's what I'm saying. Also. I mean, what's the old joke? The difference between a lawyer and a hooker? Do you know this? The
hookers have ethics, or
a hooker stops screwing you after you're dead. Like that's the
nice.
Yeah, right.
Very nice.
Taking that joke away too. It's all going away.
It's all going away, Jared. There's nothing left. And your search history is going to have to change, my friend. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Delete that.
By the way, most of my friends who are lawyers became a lawyer to have sex with their clients. That's literally why they did it.
Honestly,
a woman going through a
here?
divorce, I mean, she's just, prime prey right there.
She was just dealing with a total jerk off and they just helped her. Like, what is this? It's not for the money.
Come on, man.
Come on.
We'll come back to some of this stuff, but I do have a couple more flashbacks for you. But I do want to mention a couple other things while we're talking about it. So today, Senator Dave McCormick came out and said he's all for killing the August recess, getting the Save America Act over the finish line and making it law of the land, which is good. The reason why, and Senator McCormick posted this on his X account, is because this is overwhelmingly the popular thing to do, as even CNN's Harry Enton is forced to admit.
Shifted all that much, and you can just see it right here. Okay, so we're talking about voters favoring photo ID to vote. Among all voters, we're talking 77%. And this is uniform, basically, or universal, I should say. Universal. Democrats, 62%. Independents, 77%. Republicans, 95%. This is something that is popular across the political spectrum. It is a rare thing that is popular across the political spectrum. When it comes to voter ID, the voters are with President Trump on this, whether they're Democrats, independents, or Republicans. Overall, very clear. We're talking about 3 in 4 overall who support the idea of photo ID in order to vote.
Even 62% of Democrats show an ID when you show up to vote. Now, showing a very specific ID when you register to vote, proof of citizenship like a passport, birth certificate, or real ID, which not every state has. How do voters feel about that?
Yeah, yes, okay, so I think this might be a little bit more in the eye of the beholder. Johnny and I were talking about this. So document proving citizenship to vote. What you can see here is, again, it's clear the majority are for it. The majority are with President Trump here. We're talking about 54% of Americans. We've seen this in poll after poll after poll. It is lower than the voter ID, but it is clear. You get that 54% who support it. You get 37% opposed, which is a sizable minority, but definitely lower than the majority. And then among independents, which is a group that President Trump has really struggled with, you still see it here, right? You see the majority of it, or the plurality of independents, 49% supporting the idea of needing document proving citizenship to vote. 49% versus 38% who are opposed. So whether it's overall or independents, yes, the support is lower than it is for voter ID, but it is very clear that the majority of people are in fact for it.
It's definitely a majority. It's still not the 80% for
Oh,
voter
shut
ID
up.
when
All
you
right,
show
thank
up
you
to
very
vote
much.
with
I mean,
the photo.
that's such a weasel, that guy, trying to get him to... The majority supports using a proof of citizenship, you dope, all right? Maybe this is why I never get invited on CNN. So I trash everybody on CNN. I don't know.
So weird.
Why don't I get invited on News Nation? Maybe because for years I called Chris Cuomo the lesser Cuomo, because he is the lesser Cuomo. So probably not going to get invited on that network either. So it's Fox or nothing at this point, basically. I'll be there tomorrow. Shameless plug.
Were you there? It's the first time this week for you?
No, it's not. I mean, I was going to bring it up, but I was there yesterday on Will Cain's show. Yeah.
Oh, Will Cain, that's great.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to mention that. You mentioned it, so I, just clearing it up for people.
This week, because you were off last week.
No, I was on 3 shows last week. Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't even heard that. I was, I don't know if these are working.
Yeah, your cans were.
Could be.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
But again, going to try to do more self-promotion.
If you made it 43 minutes in, you're part of the crew. Sorry guys, we got to do this.
You're still watching. You got to deal with this just as much as Jared does. Okay. You don't think he wants to leave? Now you can't leave. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube, do me a favor. Download the podcast on Apple Podcasts for me, if you would. In addition to watching this, just take that extra step for me, because we're in the top 150 of Apple Podcasts for politics. I want to break 100. And every time we put a goal out to the Zeoli army, whether it was getting our first 1,000 YouTube subscribers, whatever it is, you deliver. So by August 7th at the Grand Hotel, wouldn't it be amazing, as we're all there hanging out and celebrating, if we can celebrate that accomplishment too? Top 100 political podcasts in the entire country on Apple, which is unarguably the largest podcast platform in the country. So all you got to do is just download it yourself, the Rich Zeoli podcast, not the Rich Zeoli show. That is the evil empire. It has nothing to do with me anymore. And they just put nonsense on there without my consent. That's a whole other thing, but I have to get some lawyer to F me on that at some point. But in the meantime, the Rich Zeoli podcast, download. Even if you're listening on the radio right now, just take that extra step for me and do that. And then tell one person. You tell one person to download it, and they download it. And if you're like the greater Chris or the bachelor Chris, whatever he's calling himself these days, and you're like, oh, I hate Apple. Well, suck it up, Buttercup. We need the downloads, okay? All right? It's not about you, Chris. It's not about you. It's about me. It's about us. Do it for my children, man.
Yes.
What, you have no soul? You want my kids to starve to death, Chris? Is that what it is? Huh?
Harsh.
So yeah, it's an extra step and you got to do it, but that's okay. You do it once, you subscribe and it'll download for you and you're good to go. All right. And then, wouldn't kill you to play it in your house. So the plays go up too. Just saying. We have to tell you about Dr. Mike Veneria, great guy, great friend, the undisputed master of dental implants. Dr. Mike is going to give you the smile of your dreams. There's no one like him. And that's why he's my personal dentist and my friend too. So when it comes to implants, he is recognized among his peers. In fact, other doctors and dentists send their patients to Dr. Mike for the really complex stuff, including implants and including complex dental procedures. And also too, what I love about Dr. Mike is with him, it's about care and compassion. It's not about cost. There are these chain dental offices out there. They're all about making money. That's not how Dr. Mike does it. So you can trust him. I hope you will. He's my dentist, and Reagan, Patrick, and Claire all go to see him. And Bridget went and got a beautiful smile upgrade. And of course, Mama Zeoli discovered him for our family. I would not let the Zeoli family go to a man who was not the absolute best when it comes to their mouth health and oral health. So you can trust that. VeneriaDental.com. And speaking of voter fraud, New Jersey's Governor Mikie Sherrill, in a somewhat suspicious development, although not at all unsurprising development, she's announced that she will block the release of the 6,000 plus non-citizens who were registered to vote in New Jersey, according to by a software glitch. She will not release those names.
The Trump administration is seeking, I believe by today, the list of non-citizens who are registered to vote and the approximately 400 that did vote. To what extent will your administration comply with the Trump administration's request in that regard?
As I have said, I am not in the habit of turning over private identifying information of the citizens of New Jersey. This federal government is weaponizing the government against individuals that disagree with them. They weaponized my private data against me in my election, and so I am working to protect people and their private data here in New Jersey.
How about the non-citizens that voted? How about the 400 non-citizens that admitted to voting in the last election? How about them? Why don't you turn over them, Governor? Compromise. The 400 who broke the law and voted when they were not allowed to vote, who should never have voted, who broke the law. Why don't you turn over their data? How about that? Just make it nice and easy. How about that? Nah, you won't do that, right? You won't do that. Thinking of Democrats too, who have lied and cheated and manipulated the process, we got to get into Gavin Newsom's Gumata. Gavin Newsom's Gumata, who admitted to wetting the bed when she was with Gavin Newsom's Gumata, or Gavin Newsom's greasy hair, I mean. Oh, yeah. And this I love, too, because this poor woman goes through what an abusive SOB this guy was, and then they ask his wife, Jennifer, is he going to run for president? How awkward for her, huh?
Is he aspiring for the presidency?
I believe right now we are focused on California. We built a foundation. I've been focused on women and children and communities. I'm really proud of the work we're doing to close the women's wealth gap, the women's wage gap, to get women on public company boards. I'm really proud of the work we're doing with our Cal Kid and Cal Savers accounts, before Trump accounts, and the financial literacy that's being mandated in all high schools. I'm just, we're trying to set California up for success. We are the fourth largest economy under my husband's leadership. California GDP has surged 40%. It's higher than Germany and China's, faster than the U.S.'s GDP growth. It's really exciting.
You're not answering the question. Answer the question.
California diversity is our secret sauce.
Answer the friggin' question, Jen.
And represent and champion. And so
all right, that's enough of her propaganda. So Gavin Newsom's Gumata, she tells what a real jerk this guy was, even saying to her at one point, this is my favorite, he actually comes up to her and says, wow, you lost all your baby weight. You don't ever say that to a woman, dude, because that implies that she gained weight. Give me a friggin' break. But, if we're going to ever really get honest elections in the country, we have to be able to figure out whether or not these elections are fair so they don't benefit people like Gavin Newsom's greasy hair. And FoxNews.com has a piece about the New Jersey scandal. It's exploding. And they're finding more key systems are at risk. But they want to keep it that way so that they can manipulate the process. You know, like Democrats love to manipulate the process. Their first primary this time around, this cycle, is going to be South Carolina, which Biden said he was doing for James Clyburn. No, he did it because South Carolina stopped Bernie Sanders, and that's what the establishment wants to do. They want to stop or be able to stop whatever socialist, communist kook is heading their way. And they want to do it early and decisive so the person can't raise money. It's not going to work, by the way. It's not going to work this time because the Democrat base is onto them. The Democrat base is angry that they did it in the past, and now it's all been exposed what they did. But there is a state senator named Kristen Corrado in Totowa who told Fox News that Governor Mikie Sherrill's motor voter controversy has reinforced Republican demands for a bipartisan investigation with subpoena power, warning that her review was too narrowly focused and likely failed to capture the full scope of the problem. We didn't just reach out to MVC, we reached out to Secretary of State Toshiya Wei, which we were not satisfied with the answers we got from the Motor Vehicle Commission, which I can tell you were basically, we have signs up, they're put on notice that if you're a citizen, you can't register to vote. So it was the honor system. That's all it was, the whole time, the honor system. And a lot of other people, including a Democrat by the name of Nicholas Scutari, said he has a lot of concerns, but he wants to see Mikie Sherrill's investigation come to fruition. Please, Democrats in Jersey have used a system like this for their own power, and they've gamed the system over and over again. It's a song we've heard before. It is a play we've seen before, no doubt about it. And do I think they're going to get away with it? No, I don't think they're going to get away with it because I think that there's such outrage right now that it's going to come to a head. And then maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we can ever get a Republican elected in New Jersey. I like to think that. I like to hope so. I like to think that every blue state can be saved. But in the meantime, it's going to be the purple states that act as the firewall to crazy people. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. You know, one of the amazing things about COVID as we do our flashbacks, the LoveGov was a star. Going out there everywhere, every day. He and his lesser brother would go back and forth. Mom loved you better. I make better meatballs. Your sausage and peppers is dry and terrible. Back and forth, the two of them. Every night we had to watch that. Every night. He was the LoveGov. He was a hero. And women were wearing shirts. I heart Cuomo. I heart the LoveGov. But the time that he offered for you to get vaccinated in exchange for getting a lottery ticket might be the all-time best Cuomo moment when he wasn't killing seniors in nursing homes.
Announce a major statewide vaccination incentive for those who have not yet received the vaccine. We announced a plan where you could win up to $5 million if you get vaccinated next week. Vax and Scratch. How do you like that name?
It's as pervy as you.
Scratch. You get a vaccination and you get a lottery ticket for the $5 million mega multiplier New York State Lottery. Now, the Vax and Scratch ticket has a first prize of $5 million, but a number of prizes that go down to $20. The chances of winning something in this program are 1 in 9.
Your chances of leaving New York under my leadership are 1 in 1. But that wasn't as bad as Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, who decided that he was going to talk with food in his mouth as he shoved greasy French fries into his big fat face, Bill de Blasio.
Do you say free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this?
Whoa.
Let me
wow, a
check
$10 meal.
Too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay.
You're disgusting. Do whatever you want.
I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life.
Oh, shut up. Don't make this.
Just think of this when you think of vaccination.
Oh, God, it is disgusting. You're disgusting. You're a disgusting human being. Gross. Just freaking gross. I love that people are that stupid. Like, well, I wasn't going to put an experimental vaccine in my body, but for a free lotto ticket or a burger and fries, I'll do anything. Sign me up. I'll be whatever you need. I'm your human hamster. Just morons. Listen, August 7th, live from the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. I want to see you there. It's going to be an incredible, incredible time. And I would love for you to join us at my happy place, the Grand Hotel, for a live show, 3 to 6 p.m. It's going to be epic. All right. Now, a lot's come out about Joe Biden's mental health. And the tapes have been out now about him talking to the special counsel and saying, oh, there's classified stuff all over, and he forgets, and his mind has gaps and everything like that. But what's really amazing is that all these kind of flashback videos are coming out. 2 days before the 2024 Biden and Trump debate, Caitlin Collins of CNN reports on the debate prep of each candidate. Now, I want you to listen to this because this is exactly what I mean about the media covering up for Joe Biden, because several days later, it would be revealed that, not even several days, months later, they hid it for as long as they could. So they wanted to take him out of the race. So actually, yeah, a couple days later, that he was napping by the pool. But at the time, the marching orders for the big networks and the mainstream media was pretend like he's fine, pretend like he's good. Okay, now we'll tell you when to take him out. But until we do, everything's fine. Okay.
That one of the most highly anticipated live events in modern American history is set to begin 48 hours from right now. The mission for both candidates in the CNN presidential debate is a contrast. And before you start yelling at your screen, yes, these two could not be any more different from one another. But what happens on Thursday night in both style and substance has the potential to alter the trajectory of this race. President Biden has spent days locked in intense preparation, surrounded by his closest advisors at Camp David. And our sources are telling us tonight that full mock debates are underway at the podium, under the lights. He's even watching tape to know exactly what he's going to see when he steps up to that lectern. His team shot a video during a walkthrough of the CNN studio. And as I reported while covering him at the White House, when Biden prepares, he does so incredibly intensively. The former president, on the other hand, who is not known for his attention to detail, is talking about how very hard it is to prepare, while at the same time insisting he doesn't need it.
There you go. When Biden was actually napping at the pool. Have a great rest of your day today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please subscribe to the Rich Zeoli podcast on all the podcast platforms, but especially Apple. Subscribe on YouTube and come back here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Does anybody else have?
So cringe.
Well,
hi there.
So
Good morning.
cringe. No,
Morning.
make it
Oh,
stop.
this is
Make
such
it
a thrill.
stop. Golly.
Golly.